Good evening, dear friends. We have come to speak to you today on the occasion of the Breastfeeding Week, which is being celebrated all over the world from the 1st of August to the 8th of August. And today, on behalf of the Curie Gynec and Birthing Hospital, we have organized this small talk to assist breastfeeding mothers to understand the importance of breastfeeding. It is the need of the hour, particularly during this pandemic season. I am Dr. Archana Kavalakat, and I am in charge of the pediatric and NICU department here at Curie Gynec and Birthing Hospital. And with me to my left is Dr. Deepali Kapute. She is a consultant obstetrician and gynecologist with special interest and trained lactation consultant. Just sitting next to her is my dear friend and a leading pediatrician in Thane, Dr. Grevita Riker, a young and dynamic pediatrician who we are so happy to have in our team. Welcome, Grevita. And to my right is Mrs. Shubhangi Bove. She is the nursing in charge here at Curie Hospital, and she is also a lactation counselor, because here at Curie, since we deal with so many babies and mothers who are having babies, she takes care that the mothers get on with breastfeeding as soon as possible. And I welcome her also to this panel discussion. So I will just set the ball rolling by giving a small brief on what breastfeeding is and how important it is to a mother to breastfeed. Breast milk as such is Amrit, and everybody knows that it is Amrit or nectar. It has all the components that a baby may need for his or her growth, right from the moment it puts the first drop into her or his mouth till the first 2 years of life. And there are more and more reports coming in that maybe breastfeeding can be continued a little further as well. So this is the one complete food which contains proteins, fats, minerals, carbohydrates, the correct proportion of brain growth factors like DHA, ARA, etc., which help the brain grow, develop, form the correct connections so that this child may grow to be a wholesome, complete individual. I'm not going to go too much into the details of the micronutrients that are present in breast milk, but I want to stress today more on how important it is for the mother to start breastfeeding, because when she holds the baby close and starts breastfeeding and the baby looks at the mother, there is an emotional exchange which we cannot even begin to describe. A lot of indicators have proven that babies who are breastfeeding have better cognitive abilities, they can be more intelligent, their memory, their emotional quotient is also so much better. Because the breastfeeding, not only by virtue of the content of the milk, but also by virtue of the emotional connect between the mother and the baby, gives so much more to the baby in terms of brain development and creates a personality that is going to be the pride of our nation. Having briefly talked about this, I'm going to now hand over to Dr. Deepali, who will talk about the importance of breastfeeding for mothers themselves. So, Dr. Deepali, over to you.
Thanks a lot, madam, for summarizing us for the benefits of breastfeeding to the baby. I will be telling you in short about the benefits of breastfeeding in the mother. And before that, I want to stress on early initiation of breastfeeding. So what is done is, as soon as the baby is delivered, the stable infant is dried and covered in cloth and kept over the baby's abdomen in prone position, so that the baby is in close skin to skin contact with the mother, and it helps in self-latching so that the breastfeeding is initiated within an hour of the delivery. Now the benefits of early initiation of breastfeeding are basically the baby is very alert and awake in the first hour. So it helps to develop a strong emotional bonding. It keeps the infant warm and reduces the chances of infection. Along with this, the additional benefits of breastfeeding immediately are, it leads to an early expulsion of the placenta and leads to contraction of the uterus and decreases the bleeding which happens post-delivery. The benefits which Madam had mentioned, like it is free of cost, it is convenient, you don't need more preparation for breastfeeding the child, and it is environment friendly. Along with that, it also leads to delay the subsequent pregnancies. Like it cannot be used as a sole method of contraception. It also helps in prevention of breast cancer, uterine cancer, and ovarian cancer in the mother, and helps in prevention of postmenopausal osteoporosis. The additional benefit of breastfeeding is also that the patient loses the fat during breastfeeding, so they get back in shape early. So that can be stressed upon to all the patients while stressing the importance of breastfeeding in mothers.
Thank you, Dr. Deepali. I would now request Dr. Grevita to give us a few pointers as to why breastfeeding is important more so for premature babies. As we have seen, when it comes to a premature baby, the mother's first thing is that I'm not going to be able to breastfeed my baby. So Dr. Grevita is going to tell us the importance of breastfeeding and touch upon formula feeding, as in why is it negative in a negative sense of the word.
Thank you, ma'am. Preterm babies, as all must be knowing, are babies less than 37 weeks of gestation. Now, why is breastfeeding so very important in preterm babies is because the absorption of the right amount of fats, the proteins, and the whey, which is easily absorbed by the gut, especially in the preterm babies. That is one point which I would really like to highlight upon. Secondly, since there is it's around 90% of fat absorption from the preterm milk takes place. Hence, the growth of the baby is very much apt. There is a good catch-up growth if we see in the newborns which are followed up later on. Third thing is, during the NICU stay, it is seen that the risk of something called as necrotizing enterocolitis, which is a very common gut inflammation seen in preterm babies, is less likely to be seen in exclusively breastfed infants, especially preterm babies. Then also other infections like sepsis or meningitis it gives an added benefit, basically because it boosts the immunological system of the baby, and it is always seen that the catch-up growth in newborns is the best in the preterm who are exclusively breastfed. Another thing what I would like to highlight upon is, in comparison to the formula-fed infants, breastfeeding is always better, basically because the bioactive molecules which are in the breast milk are much more compared to the formula. Obviously, the formula cannot be matching the breast milk at any cost. And secondly, the other vitamins and minerals like vitamin A, D, E are best in the breast milk as compared to the formula milk.
So Grevita, since you have just finished talking about the premature baby, a common question that is asked by mothers of premature babies is that they are instructed to feed on the breast and then express and feed with a spoon. Very often it is a tiresome job to move from one mode of feeding to the other. Many patients want to know if they can move to a bottle for their babies.
No, ma'am. Bottle feeding is absolutely not recommended. In babies, it is seen that it causes something called as a nipple confusion syndrome. The bottle has a different kind of a TET compared to the actual nipple which the baby would suck on. Hence, it is easier for the baby to suck onto the bottle as compared to the nipple. It's a lot of hard work which the baby has to do. There's a lot of suck-swallow coordination which is involved. And if you switch over to the bottle feeding, obviously the baby will get confused and it is going to hamper effective breastfeeding. That is point number one. And most important thing, especially preterm babies, they do have a suck-swallow in coordination. due to their prematurity. So in them, if we incorporate breastfeeding, in them if we incorporate bottle feeding, this will be worsened all the way. So that is all.
Yeah, another concern for mothers is that when the baby is on breastfeeds, they pass watery stools and frequent stools. So is that a concern for the mother?
A healthy, exclusively breastfed infant, even if passes watery stools, is normal. I want to reassure all the mothers, to-be mothers as well as who are mothers presently. This is all normal, and you really need not to be panicked about this, those watery stools, as long as the baby is exclusively breastfed and not given any other foods.
Okay. Deepali, my next question to you is that you are the first people to whom these pregnant mothers come. So what instructions do you normally as a consultant give your mothers when they come to you, when you think in terms of successful breastfeeding?
Now, what we recommend right now is exclusive breastfeeding for 6 months. So it is not just the mother who needs to be counseled. The entire family needs to be psychologically geared up for this task. So what we need to do is counsel all the family members that they have to give the patient or the mother the adequate encouragement, the time she needs, as well as a supportive environment to support breastfeeding. So for that, we as obstetrician should be giving them scientifically relevant information as regards to the benefits of breastfeeding, what are the IICN recommendations, what is the proper position for breastfeeding, what is the proper latch, and what are the common misconceptions which patients and the relatives have. Like the most common questions these patients come to us is, the size of the nipple is very small, or the size of the breast is very small. Will I be able to adequately breastfeed my child? So we need to address this issue in the antenatal period. We have to tell them that the nipple or the breast undergoes natural changes throughout the entire 9 months of pregnancy. So the nipple, which is small in size, will grow in size, and it will be of adequate fit for proper breastfeeding for the child. And the amount of milk, it does not depend on the breast size. The breast size varies because of the amount of fat, but the amount of glandular tissue which is producing the milk is almost same in all the mothers. So that needs to be stressed upon for all the mothers. And what helps in these patients is that if they see patients or they listen to patients who are lactating, sharing their experience, that helps these mothers to get motivated for exclusive breastfeeding. And we also need to tell them about the proper clothing which they need to carry during which will facilitate the breastfeeding. Like any breastfeeding gowns, or there are feeding bras, or they can even use sari or blouse which are full front opening, which will facilitate proper breastfeeding.
Okay, thank you. That was really very informative. Now, suppose I have gone to see my patient and the mother is in pain. I try to tell them to breastfeed as much as possible. But what seems to happen is that there is some misconception in the mother's mind that if she moves too much, especially a C-section mothers, that's going to affect her stitches. So do you feel that there is any logic to that?
A lot of the movements which they cause because on day 1 or day 2 of surgery will not affect the healing of the wound. And there are some positions, I think Shubhangi's sister will be highlighting on this position, which are very comfortable for the baby as well as the mother who are post-cesarean section, which will facilitate the breastfeeding properly in post-cesarean patients.
Okay. Dr. Grevita, one question I feel I wanted to ask you the previous time is that many mothers are on medications, sometimes simple paracetamols or sometimes bigger medications. Is there any thing that you would like to tell these mothers about medication while breastfeeding?
Whatever medications the mother would be wanting to take should be always prescribed by the doctor. This is something what I would really like to emphasize on, because of course there are many safe medications which can be taken, but it's always better to consult your gynecologist or the physician before taking any sort of medications.
Dr. Grevita, would you like to ask Shubhangi anything particularly with respect to feeding positions, etc. in babies?
Shubhangi's sister, one thing what I would like to ask you is, there are ladies which come to us saying that they are in pain or during the C-section because of the delivery. So is there any specific position in which the baby can be held to as to, which would be comfortable both to the mother as well as the baby?
Thank you, madam. This is really nice question actually. Many mothers are facing this issue because they are not able to hold the baby in proper way during after C-section. Because C-section में what happens, their abdomen gets disturbed and they are not able to hold the baby in proper way. There is a position to hold the baby in clutch hold method. There are 3-4 positions are there for the breastfeeding, but the clutch hold method doesn't disturb the mother's abdomen. Of course, she has to hold the baby in this way. This is the baby actually. Clutcher. Ideally, all women hold the clutcher. They have practiced to how to hold the clutcher in axilla. So she has to hold the baby in this way. She has to hold in axilla. This grip will hold baby's neck as well shoulder. And opposite hand will hold the breast and offer to the baby. In this position, baby baby latch perfectly. Latching in the sense that baby hold the areola. Areola is the part around the nipple which baby has to hold because areola contains duct which carry milk from cell to the nipple. If baby will suckle only nipple, mother will have pain and definitely baby will not get anything because nipple contains only pores. So baby has to hold the areola. Latching in the sense that if baby will hold the areola perfectly, baby will get proper breast secretion, mother will not have pain, there will be a no sound while baby suckling. Baby's lower lip should be outflanked and automatically baby का nose ऊपर जाएगा. Okay, and of course mother don't have to bend downwards and there will be a no lay down reflex. Baby comfortable position में रहता है and mother also gets comfortable in this position. Automatically baby का nose ऊपर जाने से baby breast का pressure baby के नाक पे भी नहीं आता ये position. This position is very nice. Mother can feed the baby till her breast gets empty in this position.
So all कोई positions है in other ways also which could be demonstrated?
Yeah, there are 2 more positions. One will be the cradle hold method. In this cradle hold method, जो breast से हम breastfeeding करोगे, that same hand will hold the baby. लेकिन ये position में you don't have to bend towards. You have to take baby close to mother. So of course baby will hold the areola and mother will not have any issue and baby will also comfortable and baby will also get early satisfied. One more position, that is the cross cradle hold. Those who are having lace baby weight, so baby can hold because in this position mother has to hold in the cross cradle hold in the sense that opposite hand will hold the baby and same hand will hold mother breast. So if mother will use the feeding pillow in this position, she will be more comfortable in this position and this is also really good positions. And once mother will get confident how to hold the baby, she can hold in any hold, no issues for the
So summarizing this, it simply says that there are different positions in which we can hold the baby. You need to be consulting a lactation specialist and get aware of it.
What are the indicators of adequate breastfeeding and what are the early feeding cues which you need to counsel the parents?
Yeah, so this again is a very important pointer, especially for new mothers. If the mother has had this is the second baby that she's having, she generally has an idea. So normally, as soon as the baby is born, within an hour we try to put the baby on the breast. After that, baby can show signs of hunger by a bit of lip smacking. Baby can cry in hunger. The baby can try to put the hands in the mouth. There may be indicators in terms of trying to look for the breast. This is called a rooting reflex. The reflex which comes specially designed so that all you have to do is touch the nipple to the side of the mouth and the baby turns the head there. So these may be a few indicators that the baby is hungry. When the baby is hungry, the mother can pick up the baby, breastfeed the baby. Ideally we recommend recommend that the baby should be breastfed for around 10 to 15 minutes on one side and then move to the other side. There is no such golden rule that you have to finish off in 10 to 15 minutes or you have to keep the baby on for half an hour. I have had mothers who tell me for hours together they are sitting. So that can cause nipple soreness and that itself can be a problem for the baby. So this is the answer to your question of feeding cues and how frequently the baby will need feed, especially early phases. You may need to feed very frequently. And that's what bothers these mothers. Shubhangi, I'm sure you know that they are not very happy about feeding too frequently because they are tired, they have pain, etc. But in the initial phases, you will have to do that. Later, the baby sits into one kind of a cycle. Some babies have a 2-hourly cycle, a 3-hourly cycle, etc. And then the mother has to follow the demand feeding pattern. I know you didn't ask this, but I'm going to answer, just put this point because I missed it while I was speaking. And that is that how do you know that the baby is fed adequately? Because this is one question, Grivita, I'm sure everybody asks us while we are in our OPDs. And that point is to understand that the baby will sleep comfortably between 2 feeds, maybe an hour and a half or two, and wake up asking for the next feed. The second pointer is that in the initial 2 or 3 days, the baby may pass urine about 2 to 3 times in 24 hours. So urine is less on the first 2 or 3 days. Later, at least 6 times the baby passes urine, 6 to 7 times or more. Please try and understand that more is fine because with every feed sometimes they pass urine. So at least 6 times a day. And the most important thing is weight gain. If weight gain is there, we know that it's an okay thing. Just a couple of questions more. I wanted to ask you, Shubhangi, is that for certain problems like cleft lip, have you handled any patient with cleft lip? Is there any special bottle which
for cleft lip, we have some design bottle that have some long nipple.
That is called the Haberman bottle.
I think last year we had one baby in the curate itself. Madam's patient was there. So we fed with that. We have arranged that bottle and we have fed that baby with the help of that bottle. Baby was sucking nicely. And
growing also.
Yes.
Yeah.
So even though they have problems,
Can they be breastfed also?
Yeah.
So this is very important to be emphasized on. How could you just tell us the technique?
For cleft lip, we have to just keep the finger on the lips in this way. Shall I open the lip? Just we have to keep the this finger to this area, and we can offer the baby breast to the baby. Baby hold it perfectly and baby suckle it. And we did this in last baby and we succeeded also for the same.
very good.
This
That's
has to
really
be
fantastic.
supervised.
Yeah.
So
It should be
when
supervised,
the,
yeah.
Babies in the hospital, the mother and the other relatives also should be very confident about the techniques. This is very
Lot of these mothers come to us with the complaint that the baby vomits immediately after everything. Is there a problem with the baby vomits?
See, first of all, we have to understand that it may not be a vomit. It may be just a small reflux or a regurgitation. In a day, I have seen that, it is a known fact that all normal babies can bring out small quantities of milk about 3 to 4 times a day and one large quantity of milk, which is completely okay as long as the baby is, gaining weight. What you could do is you could, burp the baby nicely and keep it a slightly angulated position. The chest and the head slightly angulated so that the regurgitation or the reflux is minimized. The second reason, and I would like Grivita, maybe you can comment on this. Do you think overfeeding or just feeding the baby for satisfaction can give rise to this, bringing out the milk? Baby cries and baby feeds, baby cries and the mother gives formula. What is your comment on that?
See, in exclusive breastfeeding, what happens is the baby takes as much as it needs, it feels the satiety and it sleeps away. So generally these problems of reflux or regurgitation, they do not occur in an exclusively breastfed infant. When we formula feed the baby, what happens is the mother also is not aware how much the baby is taking, and secondly there is something called as passive non-nutritive suckling, by which the baby feels a satisfied feeling once it sucks. So when you are breastfeeding the baby, that also happens. So when you are formula feeding, that is absent. So probably the baby will just demand and demand. So then that can cause vomiting or
Yes, and it just flows out, and that irritation then further makes the baby cry more. The mother thinks the baby is hungry. She goes on and feeds the baby again. So to summarize, I'm sure we all know that breastfeeding is extremely important. What we have to understand is that we have to go out and do it. And I want all you mothers out there to understand that what you are going to give your babies for 6 months, the exclusive breastfeeding, is a gift for a lifetime. And don't miss that opportunity to do this. I understand during this COVID pandemic, you are working at home, you are taking care of your family, the older child, you are probably doing all the housework, at the same time breastfeeding. It can be quite challenging, but push on, because this is something that is going to leave a legacy with your child for a lifetime. We would end with some closing comments from each one. Dr. Grevy, any closing comments?
I would just like to add a small point to this. There are special conditions like, for example, a tongue tie in a baby, or those with heart problems, or maybe a suck-swallow incontinence, or maybe Down syndrome babies. These are special conditions. These babies also can be breastfed, but under strict supervision of the pediatrician or your lactation specialist. It is not that these conditions would hamper hamper the benefits they would get from the breast milk breastfeeding actually. So this is one thing, and secondly, during COVID pandemic also, even if the mother is COVID positive, with all due hand sanitization and wearing the mask, the mother can very well breastfeed the infant. There is no reason not to breastfeed the infant.
In asymptomatic and mild symptomatic patients, I think WHO as well as the UNICEF says that direct breastfeeding is recommended.
Yes. Any closing comments, Rika?
As an obstetrician, I think early initiation of breastfeeding within an hour of the delivery, even if it's a cesarean section, is very important. Exclusive breastfeeding for the initial 6 months. Parents should be told about the importance of 24 hours bedding in and grooming in, and feeding on cue or breastfeeding on demand should be explained to the parents properly.
And Shubhangi, any closing comments?
Yeah, of course. Be like mammals, and whenever baby will demand, go for the breastfeeding. Enjoy your motherhood.
Thank you so much. I hope this session has been helpful to all of you. And if you have any questions or any comments, do feel free to ask us, and we will be really happy to answer. So enjoy your time as a mother, enjoy your time breastfeeding. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.